Dear students, in this lecture I will describe application of Schrodinger equation. So in my last lecture I have already informed you how to formulate Schrodinger equation in 1D and 3D. This is one-dimensional Schrodinger equation, del square psi by del x square plus 2m by h cut square E minus v psi equals to 0. E is the total energy, v is the potential energy. If we consider three-dimensional Schrodinger equation, then y and z component should be included over here, and it takes the form del square psi plus 2m by h cut square E minus v psi equals to 0. Here psi is the wave function. It indicates the state of the particle in motion. That is the wave function, that is the mathematical function which is a function of position and time. So it should contain the space term x, y, z, or in case of 1D only x, or y only z, and time term, temporal term. So it contains spatial term and temporal term. Now let us apply this one-dimensional Schrodinger equation for a particular problem. A particle is confined in one-dimensional potential box. So this is a box. This is the cross-sectional view of the box, front view of the box. So here we may consider that this box has a length of a, suppose a centimeter. So this side of the box is set as x equals to 0, and this side is set as x equals to a. So a minus 0, that is a is the length of the box. Suppose a particle of mass m is confined within the box and it can move along this direction. Suppose along x direction. That's why it is called one-dimensional potential box. And here we may consider additionally that the potential energy of the particle, or the potential value of the potential, is 0 within the box. This indicates that the particle can move freely within the box. So for x 0 to a within the box, v equals to 0. Potential energy of the particle is supposed to be 0, just like the particle is just like a free particle. And additionally we may consider over here v equals to infinity outside the box, that is otherwise outside the box v becomes infinity. So this indicates that particle can reach over here. So motion of the particle should be confined within the box from 0 to a along x direction. That's why this is called one-dimensional box potential problem. So in this problem we consider m be the mass of the particle which is confined in the box. So in this problem we have to find out various things with the help of this Schrodinger equation. Since it is one-dimensional box potential problem, we should apply one-dimensional Schrodinger equation to solve this problem. Here this Schrodinger equation, it is nothing but a differential equation. So if we solve this equation for this particular problem, we can find out the solution, that is the psi. That is, after solving this equation with the help of this some sort of given parameter or given conditions, we can find out psi, that is the wave function, that is the wave function associated with the motion of the particle. So psi can be calculated after solving this equation, one-dimensional Schrodinger equation. Total energy can be calculated. potential energy is supposed to be 0 for simplicity of calculation. Probability of finding a particle within the box can be calculated. Probability density can be calculated. So many parameters can be calculated with the help of this Schrödinger equation. So in single word, single sentence, it can be stated that we can apply this Schrödinger equation, that is one-dimensional Schrödinger equation, to solve this problem. Means our final objective is to solve this equation, this Schrödinger equation, means this differential equation. To solve this differential equation, we'll get some valuable parameters like wave function, total energy, probability density, probability, etc., etc. Got my point? So let us start to solve this problem, one-dimensional box potential problem. So V equals to 0, we have already considered. Within the box potential energy is 0, outside the box V equals to infinity. So consider this differential equation, that is the one-dimensional Schrödinger equation. So this is the one-dimensional Schrödinger equation. We consider this one-dimensional Schrödinger equation over here. So putting V equals to 0 within the box, V equals to 0. So it becomes del square psi by del x square plus 2m by h cat square each I equals to 0. Let it be equation 1. Clear? As V equals to 0. Now we consider 2me by h cat square. For a particular energy, 2me by h cat square may be considered as another constant alpha square. Suppose 2me by h cat square is considered over here as alpha square. So this expression takes the form del square psi by del x square plus alpha square psi equals to 0. Equation 2. This expression, equation 2, represents the differential equation which is analogous to the simple harmonic motion equation. You know, for particular y, xy or yt, del square y by del t square plus omega square y equals to 0. This is the simple harmonic motion equation where omega is the frequency of oscillation. Exactly in the same way, we may write del square psi by del x square plus alpha square psi equals to 0. In place of y, we may put psi. In place of t, we may put x. In place of omega, we may put alpha. So this equation, that is equation 2, is analogous to simple harmonic motion equation. If it is simple harmonic motion equation, then we know the solution, trial solution of simple harmonic motion equation, that is for del square y by del t square plus omega square y equals to 0, y equals to a sin omega t plus b cos omega t. So this is the trial solution of simple harmonic motion equation. So applying this method over here, we may write this is the trial solution, psi equals to a sin alpha x plus b cos alpha x. This is the trial solution of this differential equation, that is analogous to simple harmonic motion equation. Now our next aim is to find out a, alpha and b. To find out the expression of psi, we have to find out a, alpha and b. These three are unknowns. Now these three unknowns can be estimated or evaluated from some boundary conditions. Boundary conditions means property of the wave function. This is quantum mechanically acceptable wave function. It should have some properties I have already discussed earlier. So we should apply the property of wave function psi to find out these unknowns. First we consider first boundary condition. At x equals to 0, here this is the boundary. You know, at x equals to 0, wave function must be finite. So at x equals to 0, psi tending to 0. 0 is a finite number. So at x equals to 0, wave function must be finite. This is the one important boundary condition. At x equals to 0, psi equals to 0. That is finite. So putting this value of x and psi over here, 0 equals to a sine of 0 means 0 plus b cos 0 means 1. So 0 equals to 0 plus b means b equals to 0. B equals to 0. So putting the value b equals to 0 over here, we get psi equals to a sine alpha x. A sin alpha x. Clear? Now we have obtained this expression psi equals to A sin alpha x. Still A and alpha are unknown to us, whose values should be evaluated from other boundary conditions. Now we consider this boundary. At x equals to A, wave function is also finite, that is tending to 0. At x equals to A, psi tending to 0. Clear? So putting the value of psi 0, 0 equals to A into sine of alpha A. So A sine of alpha A equals to 0. Product of two functions is 0. A into sine of alpha is 0. So either A equals to 0 or sine of alpha equals to 0. But A cannot be 0. If A is 0, then wave function doesn't exist. So A cannot be 0. Got my point? This means sine of alpha A must be equals to 0. If sine of alpha equals to 0, what is the general solution of this equation? Sin x equals to 0. So x equals to n pi. You know this information. You get this information from 12th standard. If sin x equals to 0, x equals to n pi. So sin alpha equals to 0, alpha equals to n pi, where n is an integer. Means 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Okay, alpha equals to n pi. This is the general solution. Sin alpha equals to 0 means alpha equals to n pi. So alpha equals to n pi means alpha equals to n pi by A. This means alpha square equals to n square pi square by A square. Clear? This is the value of alpha square. Previously we have considered alpha square as 2m e by h cut square. So these two alpha square are same. So we may equate the value of alpha square, that is 2m e by h cut square, must be equals to n square pi square by a square. So these two are same. From this equality we may write 2m e by h cut square equals to n square pi square by a square. This means E equals to n square pi square h square by 2m square. This is the value of energy. For particular value of energy, so this is the very important expression for one dimensional box potential. So for it varies with n only. Pi, h, 2m, a all are fixed constant. So n is a variable, integer 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So better to write in this expression of E using this notation En. Instead of E, better to write En, E suffix n. En equals to n square pi square h square by 2m square. So it depends on n. So energy depends on n. For n equals to 1, for n equals to 1, suppose n equals to 1, it is E1. This is the value of E1. That is pi square h square by 2m square. Okay. For n equals to 2, that is 4 of E1. 4 of E1. This is E2. For n equals to 3, that is 9 of this, 9 of E1. So in this way we get discrete set of energy, E1, next E2, next E3 and so on. So it shows that the energy is discrete or quantized. This is called quantization of energy. So this is the important condition for quantum mechanics. This is one of the important condition, very important essential condition in quantum mechanics, that is energy is discrete, energy is not continuous. That is also basic difference between classical physics and quantum physics. In case of classical physics, we get continuous set of energy. That is 0, in between 0 and E1 we have large number of energy values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 and so on. Large number of energy values. But in case of quantum physics, this is 0, but it is E1. This is ground state energy E1, next E2, next E3 and so on. In between E1 and E2 there is no set of energy. Energy is discrete or quantized. So in this regard, we have discrete set of energy and it is called quantization of energy. So energy is quantized. This is the important condition in quantum mechanics. Okay. Next we consider another boundary condition. So far we have calculated psi equals to a sine alpha x. Okay, a sine alpha x, and the value of alpha we have already calculated, n pi by a. N pi by a. So psi equals to a sine n pi x by a. Okay, still a is unknown to us. So far we cannot calculate a. A can also be calculated from other boundary condition, that is the another property of wave function, that is called normalization condition. I have already discussed earlier that this is one of the important property of wave function, that is normalization condition. It comes from the concept of probability, that is minus to plus infinity psi star psi dx equals to 1. That is the normalization condition. So putting the value of psi star means a star sine n pi x by a. This is the real number. Only the prefactor or the amplitude may be complex. That's why in general it may be considered as a star, complex conjugate. So we have a star sine n pi x by a into a sine n pi x by a. So a star a sine square n pi x by a dx equals to 1. Okay, but here we should do some correction over here. The limit should be 0 to a. Okay, please make a correction. It should not be minus. In general it is minus to plus infinity, but for the present problem it should be 0 to a. It should be 0 to a. So it becomes 0 to a sine square n pi x by a dx. So mod of a square, in general mod of x square equals to 1 by limit 0 to a, please make a correction, 0 to a sine square n pi x by a dx. Okay, so we have to perform this integration. First of all we have to evaluate the value of this integration, put it here to get the value of mod of a square. Okay, so the value of this integration can be evaluated in this using this fashion. Since it is sine square n pi x by a, using this formula half into 2 sine square n pi x by a, that is applying the formula 1 minus cos 2 theta. So after simplification we get this result. It becomes a by 2, since sine 2 pi x 2 n pi equals to 0. So the result comes to be a by 2 only. So mod of a square equals to 1 by a by 2 means 2 by a. So mod of a equals to square root of 2 by a. We consider only positive sign, root over 2 by a. So psi n becomes root over 2 by a sine n pi x by a. Okay, this is the value of psi n. Psi n, it depends on n. Just like En, discrete set of energy, it depends on n. So it depends on n as well as x. So in this regard we may conclude that we have set of wave functions. For n equals to 1 it is psi 1, for n equals to 2 it is psi 2, n equals to 3 it is psi 3, n equals to 0 it is psi 0, and so on. So n equals to 1, this is psi 1 square root of 2 by a sine pi x by a. For n equals to 2 it is psi 2, that is square root of 2 by a sine 2 pi x by a. For n equals to 3, n equals to 4, and so on. Okay, so we have different values of wave functions, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4, and psi n up to psi n. Now the most important thing is to draw the wave function graphically. So this is the graphical representation of psi n versus x. So this is the variation of psi 1 versus x. How to plot this? This is also important. psi 1, this is our psi 1, this is our psi 1. Now this is the box. This point indicates x equals to 0, this point indicates x equals to a. Okay, now for this condition, for this wave function, we consider x equals to 0. X equals to 0. X equals to 0 means psi 1 equals to 0, means it indicates this 0 point. Similarly, x equals to a, it indicates pi a by a means sin pi 0, psi 1 0, so psi 1 is 0. Midpoint a by 2, if x equals to a by 2, it becomes sin pi by 2 means maximum, root over 2 by a. So this should be the nature of psi 1 versus x. Similarly, we may calculate psi 2. This is our psi 2. For x equals to a by 4, it becomes maximum. For x equals to 3a by 4, it becomes maximum in the negative side. For x equals to a by 2, it becomes 0. You may check it from this condition. You may check it yourself. So x equals to 0, a by 2 and a. The value of psi 2 becomes 0. That's why this is the nature of psi 2. It indicates two loops. For n equals to 1, it indicates one loop. For n equals to 2, it indicates two loops for psi 2. For psi 3, you may plot it yourself. For psi 3, there must be 3 loops, and so on. So in general, this is the value of psi n, this is the value of En. So it is clear that energy is quantized. It indicates discrete set of energy. We have E1, E2, E3, E4 and so on, and this is the corresponding wave function. We have psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4 and so on. For n equals to 1, E1 indicates the minimum energy. This is called ground state energy. So ground state energy E1 equals to pi square h cut square by 2m a square. Okay, so please, one correction I forget to mention. It is in this expression, it is h cut square. So in the expression of En, it should be h cut. Okay, please, one correction. So En equals to n square pi square h cut square by 2m square. Okay, so this is the energy values, energy eigenvalues, better to say energy eigenvalues. This is the corresponding wave function. And E1 equals to pi square h cut square by 2m square. This is the ground state energy.